There's a factory in Port Melbourne, Australia, where something extraordinary happens every single day. Behind reinforced steel doors and under strict biosecurity protocols, a dark, mysterious substance is being manufactured at industrial scale. A thick, jet-black paste that has become one of the most polarizing food products on Earth. This isn't just any condiment. This is Vegemite. And the process of making it is far more complex, more scientific, and more fascinating than most people could ever imagine. Walk through those factory gates, past the security checkpoints, and you're entering a facility that operates like a pharmaceutical plant crossed with a brewery. The air itself tells a story. Intensely savory, almost overwhelming, a concentrated umami punch that hits you the moment you step inside. This is where Australia's most iconic spread begins its journey, and the transformation from industrial waste to national treasure is nothing short of remarkable. What you're about to discover is a manufacturing process that involves cutting-edge biotechnology, precision engineering, and quality control standards that would make a Swiss watchmaker jealous. This is the hidden world inside a modern Vegemite factory. The story of how this paste gets made starts not with vegetables, as the name might suggest, but with something most people would consider garbage. And that's precisely what makes this entire operation so brilliantly ingenious. What most people don't realize is that Vegemite production is essentially an exercise in extreme recycling and biochemical precision. The entire manufacturing philosophy is built on transforming what breweries consider waste into something not just edible, but nutritionally extraordinary. And the scale at which this happens is staggering. The Port Melbourne facility processes tons of raw yeast material every single day, operating around the clock in carefully orchestrated shifts. Here's a fascinating fact that surprises even food scientists. Vegemite contains one of the highest concentrations of B group vitamins of any food product in the world. A single 5-gram serving, about what you'd spread on a piece of toast, contains approximately 50% of your daily recommended intake of thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folate. This isn't fortification or artificial supplementation. These vitamins occur naturally in the yeast cells, concentrated through the manufacturing process. It's why doctors in the 1930s and 1940s literally prescribed Vegemite as medicine, and why it became standard issue for Australian military rations during World War II. But here's where it gets really interesting. The yeast used in Vegemite isn't just any yeast, it's specifically brewer's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the exact same species used to ferment beer. After breweries extract all the alcohol and flavor compounds they need for beer production, what remains is a thick, protein-rich sludge that's packed with nutrients but tastes absolutely terrible. Bitter, harsh, and completely unpalatable. For decades, breweries simply dumped this material as waste. The genius of Vegemite's invention was recognizing that buried inside this disgusting sludge was something valuable, something that could be unlocked through a specific biochemical process. The transformation involves a technique called autolysis, which literally means self-digestion. The yeast cells are placed in carefully controlled conditions where their own enzymes begin breaking down the cell walls from the inside. It's a controlled cellular breakdown, and the temperature, pH levels, and timing have to be absolutely perfect. Too fast, and you get bitter compounds. Too slow, and you lose the savory depth. The process takes hours, and during this time, the yeast cells essentially liquefy themselves, releasing their internal contents, amino acids, glutamic acid, the source of that umami flavor, and all those B vitamins into the surrounding liquid. Here's something that blows people's minds. The umami flavor in Vegemite, that deep, savory, almost meaty taste, comes from naturally occurring glutamates released during autolysis. It's the same compound that makes Parmesan cheese taste savory, the same molecule that gives mushrooms their depth, and the same reason why tomatoes taste rich. Vegemite is essentially a concentrated umami bomb, and it's all created through a natural enzymatic process, not through adding MSG or artificial flavoring. Another little-known fact, the color of Vegemite isn't added. That distinctive dark brown, almost black appearance comes from the Maillard reaction, the same chemical process that browns bread when you toast it or gives coffee its dark color when roasted. During the concentration phase of manufacturing, naturally occurring sugars and amino acids in the yeast extract react under heat, creating hundreds of complex flavor compounds and that characteristic dark color. The longer and more carefully this process is controlled, the deeper and more complex the final flavor becomes. The modern Vegemite factory also employs technology that would have seemed like science fiction when the product was first invented in 1923. High-performance liquid chromatography is used to analyze every batch, ensuring the precise balance of flavor compounds. Spectrophotometers measure color consistency down to the nanometer wavelength. Automated viscosity testing ensures every jar has exactly the same thick, spreadable texture. The factory operates under HACCP, Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, protocols, the same food safety system used by NASA for space food. Every single batch is traceable, every jar coded, every step documented. Here's a production detail that rarely gets mentioned. Vegemite manufacturing is a continuous process, not a batch process. Once the factory is running, it doesn't stop. Raw materials flow in one end, finished product flows out the other, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The production line is designed for maximum efficiency and minimal waste, with heat recovery systems capturing thermal energy from the concentration process and recycling it back into the system. It's an industrial ballet, precisely choreographed, where even a minor disruption can cascade through the entire operation. The recipe itself remains one of Australia's most closely guarded industrial secrets. Only a handful of people know the exact proportions and the complete process. The formula is kept in a secure vault, and production managers work from coded instructions that reveal only their specific part of the process. It's industrial espionage protection at the highest level, because Vegemite's exact flavor profile has never been successfully replicated by competitors despite decades of trying. Now, let's step inside the factory itself and follow the journey from raw material to finished jar. This is where the real industrial magic happens, where chemistry meets engineering on a massive scale. The process begins at the receiving docks, where tanker trucks arrive daily from nearby breweries. carrying thousands of liters of spent brewer's yeast. This material arrives as a thick, creamy slurry, still warm from the brewing process, and it's pumped directly into massive stainless steel holding tanks. These tanks are temperature controlled and constantly agitated to prevent settling and maintain consistency. The yeast slurry is living material, still biologically active, and timing is critical. If it sits too long, unwanted fermentation can begin, creating off flavors. From the holding tanks, the yeast is pumped into the autolysis reactors, enormous stainless steel vessels that look like something from a pharmaceutical plant. Inside these reactors, the temperature is raised to precisely controlled levels, typically between 113 to 131 degrees Fahrenheit, and the pH is carefully adjusted. Salt is added at this stage, not just for flavor, but because it plays a crucial role in the autolysis process, helping to rupture cell walls and extract the maximum amount of flavor and nutrients. The mixture is held at these conditions for several hours, constantly monitored by sensors that feed data to a central control room. Once autolysis is complete, the mixture moves to the separation stage. This is where industrial centrifuges come into play. Massive machines spinning at thousands of revolutions per minute, using centrifugal force to separate the liquid yeast extract from the solid cell debris. The cell walls, now empty husks, are spun out and removed. What remains is a dark brown liquid, rich in flavor compounds and nutrients, but still too thin and too bitter to be Vegemite. This liquid is the foundation, the raw extract that will undergo further transformation. The next stage is concentration, and this is where the product begins to take its final form. The liquid extract is pumped into vacuum evaporators, specialized equipment that removes water at low temperatures by reducing air pressure. This is critical because high heat would destroy the delicate B vitamins and create burnt, unpleasant flavors. Under vacuum, water evaporates at much lower temperatures, gently concentrating the extract while preserving its nutritional value. As the water is removed, the liquid becomes thicker, darker, and more intensely flavored. This process can take many hours, and the viscosity is constantly monitored until it reaches the exact consistency that defines Vegemite. But concentration alone doesn't create the final product. This is where the secret recipe comes into play. The concentrated yeast extract is transferred to blending tanks, where carefully measured amounts of additional ingredients are added: vegetable extracts, spice extracts, and additional salt. The exact ingredients and proportions are classified, but industry analysis suggests celery extract, onion extract, and possibly malt extract are part of the formula. These additions round out the flavor, adding depth and complexity, transforming the one-dimensional yeast extract into the multi-layered taste profile that defines Vegemite. The blending process itself is an art. Industrial mixers, some as large as small rooms, combine the ingredients under precise conditions. The mixture is heated and cooled in specific cycles, allowing flavors to marry and develop. Samples are constantly pulled and tested, both by automated instruments and by human taste testers, trained sensory experts who can detect even the slightest deviation from the standard profile. If a batch is even slightly off, it's rejected and reprocessed. There's no room for variation when you're producing a product that millions of people expect to taste exactly the same every single time. Once the blend is approved, it moves to the packaging line, and this is where industrial automation truly shines. The thick paste is pumped through heated pipes to keep it flowing smoothly, then deposited into jars by high-speed filling machines. These machines can fill, cap, and label hundreds of jars per minute, each one receiving exactly the same amount of product measured to the gram. The jars themselves arrive on conveyor belts, pre-sterilized and inspected by optical sensors that reject any jar with even microscopic defects. As the filled jars move down the line, they pass through multiple quality control checkpoints. Weight sensors verify each jar contains the correct amount. Vision systems check that labels are perfectly aligned. Metal detectors scan for any foreign objects. Temperature probes ensure the product is at the right consistency. Any jar that fails any test is automatically rejected and diverted off the main line. The rejection rate is incredibly low, but the standards are uncompromising. The filled and sealed jars are then packed into boxes, palletized by robotic systems, and moved to the warehouse for distribution. But even here, the quality control continues. Every pallet is tagged with a batch code that traces back to the exact production run, the specific raw materials used, and even the individual operators on shift that day. If a quality issue is ever discovered in the field, the factory can trace it back to its source within minutes, and if necessary, recall specific batches with surgical precision. The factory also operates under strict environmental controls. Wastewater from the process is treated on site before discharge. The solid waste, those cell wall remnants from the centrifuges, is processed and sold as animal feed, completing the recycling loop. Energy efficiency is constantly monitored and optimized. The modern Vegemite factory is as much about sustainability as it is about production. One of the most impressive aspects of the operation is the sheer consistency. Vegemite produced today tastes identical to Vegemite produced 50 years ago, despite changes in ownership, advances in technology, and evolution in manufacturing processes. That consistency is the result of fanatical attention to detail, rigorous process control, and an institutional commitment to preserving the exact flavor profile that Australians grew up with and expect. So there you have it, the hidden world inside a high-tech Vegemite factory, where industrial waste becomes a national icon through the power of biochemistry, precision engineering, and uncompromising quality control. It's a manufacturing process that combines 19th century innovation with 21st century technology, all in service of producing a product that remains defiantly, uniquely Australian. But what do you think? Does knowing the industrial process behind Vegemite make you appreciate it more? Or does the controlled cellular breakdown part make you think twice before your next piece of toast? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from both the Vegemite lovers and the haters. And if you're curious about how other iconic foods are made at industrial scale, the next video on your screen takes you inside a jelly bean factory, where sugar, starch, and flavor chemistry combine in a week-long process that transforms simple ingredients into those colorful, glossy little candies through a technique called panning that dates back centuries. Click that video now, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another behind-the-scenes look at the factories that feed the world. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.